I wish they would ban all politics on social media, all platforms. What about you? I am sick and tired of hearing about every bit of it. I'm sick and tired of Facebook fact-checking things. I'm just sick and tired of the whole thing. You know, it's supposed to be a free country, and we're supposed to be able to say and do whatever we want to do. You know, I see myself as an independent. I do lean more towards the right, I'm not going to lie. But I see myself as an independent. I'm not going to call myself a Republican. I'm not going to call myself a Democrat. I'm going to vote for the person that's going to do the best job. You know, this country, whether anybody wants to say otherwise or not, it's like a business. It's no different than your checkbook at home. You know, you have to, you know, do things to make money, to be self-sustained. You know, why we don't do that, I have no clue. You know, the reason I lean towards the right is because I feel like Trump was trying to do that. You know, a lot of Indians think he wasn't. You know, I want to say things here to address both parties. You know, we don't want to just vote one way because everybody else is voting that way. You know, you want to have a good, legitimate reason yourself. You know, myself, I would have voted for John F. Kennedy in a heartbeat. It's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. You know, that should be everybody's rule of thumb. Shouldn't be what I get out of this or whatever. Shouldn't be that way. You know, if you don't work and make money, you won't survive. If you want to go back into caveman times, guess what? You don't go out and hunt your food, you won't survive. It's plain and simple. I don't care who you are. If you are too lazy to provide for yourself, you will not survive, no matter who you are. Everybody should think that way. Yeah, I think they should think that way. Maybe some of you all don't think it should be like that. You know, I don't know what paradise that you want to be in, but that's how real life is. You have to provide to survive. That's how it is. You know, as far as the politics on here, this is how I see it. A lot of you may see it different, but like I say, I try to watch them both sides because, you know, sometimes there might be something happening on one side you don't know about versus the other. So I want to have all the input coming in. That way I can kind of take it together and then get my opinion out of that. The left side, they continuously and verbally put down the right. I mean, it's just insult kind of stuff. It's just insult kind of stuff all the time. The right, they go on and on about how that the left hasn't been doing their job. I mean, this is how I see it now. I'm telling you, this is how I see it. The right isn't insulting the left as far as personally and everything else, but they are talking about how they're not doing their job. You know, to me, you know, again, I want to be in the middle. But I don't like people insulting the other people. Okay, you already got one X on your record. Okay, as far as people not doing their job, that's kind of easy to see because I live here and I see what's happening and what's going on. So obviously somebody's not doing their job. I mean, I see this with my own eyes. I don't have to have somebody tell me. I see it. You know, don't ever accuse somebody to being an asshole or a racist unless you know for yourself. You're just going off hearsay. You're just believing what somebody else tells you that they may not. I mean, you don't have a clue where they got their information. You know, I take my opinions how people treat me. I've had people to say, oh, you better watch him or whatever. But I always give people benefit of the doubt. That way, you know, I want to be fair. You know, sometimes people prove themselves to what other people say, and some people are completely different. You know, some people are nothing what other people make them out to be. This is my experience. I am 49 years old. And what I just told you is a complete fact. People will show themselves. You know, people all about what's on screens here and what they watch and everything else. Here's a perfect scenario for you as far as people not doing their job. This is what I'm going to be talking about. Here's a scenario for you. The movie The Titanic, everybody's watched it. They had lifeboats. They couldn't put too many people on lifeboats or they would sink. You know, there's already a sinking ship. People couldn't get on the lifeboats, enough of them, or it would have sank the lifeboats. Nobody would have survived. Think of this country in that sense. There's a lot of great people, I'm sure, that has come over here and come with this open border, but there's a lot of bad ones too. You know, Trump says that he'll do a big deportation. What a joke. That's never going to happen. You'll never get everybody out of here that has come over here. You'll never do it. And the worst thing, even talking about that, is the bad ones that you do want deported. They're going to be the ones that's hardest to get rid of. You know, that's what I'm saying. None of that's going to happen. People can go and say whatever they want to do. These people are here. But the problem is we have to regulate it. It's no different whether it's a lifeboat or your house or your boat or your car or whatever. If you put too much in it, it's going to be overweighted. It's going to fail. You know, you put too many cows in a small field, there's not going to be enough food for all the cows. I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer kind of thing, but it has to be regulated. I'm not above anybody trying to better himself, but it has to be regulated. You know, like I say, I'm just sick of every bit of it. You know, I'm just sick of it. People claiming things that they don't even have a clue. You know, if you don't know personally, don't even open your mouth. People just say what they hear repeated, and some of these people that are being paid, I know there's people on both sides that are saying and repeating things on these platforms that just push a certain way. You know what? You have sold your soul. You have sold your soul. Who knows where you're going to end up? To be paid to influence others to go a certain way. You know, one thing that's happened that makes my stomach so sick is, now this should make everybody sick, is right after COVID they had all those news broadcasters. And all you news broadcasters, you have sold your soul. They had all the news broadcasters on there that said the words, threat to democracy. You know, the left want to say that's the right. But whoever puts that, whoever tells those news broadcasters to say that, that is the worst threat that ever has been. I'm sick of it all. But I'm going to vote who's going to do the best job as far as maintaining this country as a whole, this field. I don't even have enough time to say what I'd like to say. But people need to wake up and not just judge somebody over what somebody else said. Unless you know Trump to be an asshole, don't even say it. Unless you know him personally. You know, I guarantee you go out here to any large business, and the boss there, he's going to be an asshole. He ain't going to be nice. He's going to make you do something you probably don't want to do. Again, if you can't provide, you will not survive. Don't be looking for handouts. We can't afford to give handouts to people just coming over here. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think?